the big news of the day. There has been a settlement. The city of St. Louis will get $790 million from the NFL and Stan Kroenke. Joining us now is the former four-time mayor in the city of St. Louis, Mayor Francis Slay. Mayor Slay, good to be with you. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, Frank. Happy to be here.
So when you hear that news, your first reaction was what?
I think it's great. I was ecstatic over it. I thought it's a great settlement. It brings certainty, and it really does. Really also just supports everything that everyone was trying to do for so long, and I think it's a very, very, very good settlement.
So I think some St. Louisans, and let me just play devil's advocate, some St. Louisans disappointed because they kept hearing the number, the billion word, and they also heard the possibility of a team. Neither of those two things will happen. Or they wanted the actual trial where you could see Stan and Kevin Demoff, on the stand kind of squirming. None of those are going to happen. Your reaction to that?
Well, first of all, the settlement, it's a very good settlement. It brings certainty. I can tell you that in court, and I was a trial lawyer for 20 years, a lot of uncertainty. I was involved in the Exxon Valdez oil spill case. That one came down with a $5 billion verdict, and it was reversed to a $500 million verdict 10 years later, or maybe a dozen years later. So the point is, there's no guarantees when you're in court. So getting a settlement's good. And by the way, $790 million is a lot of money. And as far as getting a team, I'm not in the middle of this. St. Louis was very well represented. Very talented lawyers. They're very smart. They're also working with their bosses as well, trying to figure out, and they had a good idea, I'm sure, of what they can get in a mediation. And apparently, bringing another team here wasn't in the cards. So getting some a result here of a lot of money, and what's going to happen with that money is going to depend upon what those leadership in the county, the state, and the local level, what happens to that money. But I think the settlement brings certainty. And I think it's a satisfying win for St. Louis. We should rejoice over it and move on. Okay.
If you were mayor and the settlement was $553 million, now granted it's going to be split either 3 or 4 ways, just let me put you back in office. What would be the best way to spend that? Just we're not putting you on the spot here, and we're not going to hold you to it. But what jumps out at you if you got a big check? What would you do to improve the city?
I'm not touching that question with a 10-foot pole. I'm not the mayor. I am not. I don't want to presume to be the mayor, and I am not going to put myself in that position. We have leadership in the city, the county, and regional leadership at the RSA level. They're going to be in a better position to decide what to do with this money than I would be sitting here as a excuse upon a Monday morning quarterback.
Very good. I think that there's also a perception, well, Dave Peacock was the guy who tried to get this thing going and it didn't work out. He failed at it. But I keep thinking if Dave Peacock doesn't go after this thing voraciously with the stadium plans and spending that $17 or $18 million, then St. Louis is not winning a $790 million lawsuit today, correct?
You're absolutely right. Dave Peacock did an outstanding job putting the city, the region, the RSA in the best position for this lawsuit. And he was assisted with Jeff Rainford and Bob Blitz, Mary Ellen Ponder, my chief of staff as well, worked real hard on, and a lot of other people. So, Dave led the effort, and without that, we would not have been in a position, the position that we are in now, to get a settlement like this.
Mayor, let me take you back to earlier in your terms. When did you know that Stan Kroenke was going to try to get out of here? Did you get a little heads up, or did it just shock you?
Well, it's one of those things where we were getting a lot of information, different information, and information that wasn't consistent about what was happening and what he was doing. Certainly, I didn't necessarily trust what we were getting through whatever channels about what he was doing and what he was not doing. I do know that we were relying heavily, though, on the NFL's relocation guidelines and what we were hearing from the NFL as well in terms of their wanting to keep a team here in St. Louis. I even got a call from an NFL owner. He said, "We think Stan Kroenke's wrong. I'm against it." He says he's against it. It was Benson, the owner
of the Saints. Yeah,
the Saints. He called me personally and said, so we were getting different kinds of information, but at the same time, we knew that we had to put, based on what we were hearing and what we knew at the time, we had to do all we could to position ourselves to keep the team in St. Louis. And if that didn't happen, and obviously it didn't, as a result, we were able to position ourselves in a way to put a pretty strong case together in court.
Well, good stuff. Mayor, honored to have you on the program. We really appreciate your time. Good luck to you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Frank. Good talking with you.
All right. That is the former mayor of the city of St. Louis, Mayor Francis Slay, who had 4 terms running our city.